What's going on, guys? This is basically a part two from yesterday. I know yesterday I kind of blabbed my mouth a lot, but obviously that's what I'm here to do, blab my mouth. But I had several comments that I wanted to go over, but I didn't get to yesterday. Just, it is what it is. I did like one comment and then I just jumped right into the chat and I was up here for like 3 hours. So I didn't get to go into the other comments that I did want to highlight and give credit to and shout out. So I'm gonna do that tonight. Do that right now, specifically. So we got here from Majestic Butterfly. Let's check out this comment. And again, guys, this is a Mulatto community service. This is me, my mission, my purpose, serving you, the public. Check this out. She puts here they are using the unscientific one drop rule to manipulate mixed people, particularly to push them into promoting blackness and securing political power. Very profound words. I mean, this is precisely what it is. It's this manipulation tactic with this weaponization of the one drop rule, gatekeeping blackness, wielding membership access over the head of the mixed race person, in grouping and out grouping phenomena, right? Obviously, over here, we have the solution. We realize we got to do our own situation, and we're doing it. It's growing. But other people out there who haven't found us, they don't know that we're here. They're kind of lost in a sauce, so to speak. They feel like they just have to cape a little harder. They just got to kiss a little bit more butt, and then they'll get accepted. But they don't understand that they're in a predicament where they're positioned to be a subordinate to lose. See, over here, we have figured out what the game is. What this lady puts here is this whole idea where it's like, look, literally, where they want to manipulate the mulattoes, particularly to push them into promoting blackness. They want the mulattoes to promote blackness in the grand, scale, in an international level. They want an Ice Spice to promote blackness. You look at her, like, what is Ice Spice? Like 10% black at best? Get the fuck out of here. She's got like orange hair and she's like pale skin. Like, this is not a black person. Ice Spice. I'm just using her as an example, but we can go over other people, even like, Patrick Mahomes, right? Barack Obama has a white mother, right? But they want him to be like pro-black. It's funny how they have like buyer's remorse from Barack Obama. He didn't do nothing for black folks. Well, you didn't ask for nothing from him. You just wanted him to just say he's black and be black, and he's married to a black woman. That was good enough for you people. Why are you crying now? Like, but they want the mixed people. Specifically, we're saying mulattoes. Let's be clear, because like I say, with this ambiguous and kind of vague language with mixed or biracial, we're talking about mulattoes here. This is why on my channel, my social media, we are ultra specific, because we understand what the real situation is. When they say mixed, they're not talking about a white and Arab or a white and Asian Hapa or something like that, or a Mexican and white. No, 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 no. When they're talking about mixed or biracial, they are specifically talking about the mulatto, because you are in a very unique and powerful situation. If only you can tap into your true capabilities. You understand your position out here geopolitically. And so, what this lady puts here is promoting blackness and securing political power. They want you to use your proximity to whiteness to promote blackness for political power. I referenced Barack Obama, but there's a whole host of others, right? This undermines mixed individuals by making them conform to an identity that doesn't fully represent them. You feel inauthentic, and in these mulattoes know it. That's why they have to go extra hard and cape extra hard just to fit in into the communita. They're the ones doing all the damn work. I mean, it's very funny, this word mule, like it fits very accurately with the black identified mulatto. They are literally going overboard to make sure every dark skin feels comfortable around them. Very sad situation. And they're trying to take on this identity that doesn't represent them. It puts them in the back seat. Like I talked about it earlier with the whole Drake and Kendrick situation on my other channel, because Angry Man gave his kind of commentary on it, where with Drake in one of his third verse in his Family Matters track, where he talked about, you know, uh, you don't want to give, like your brother Jermaine, you don't want him to get access to the light, referencing Jermaine, J. Cole, how Kendrick and a lot of the darker skin, pro wax and hip hop, they reference J. Cole as being a good biracial because they don't want him to be the best, the number one. Same thing why the pro wax, the dark skins, they reference Lenny Kravitz in rock and roll. Because Lenny Kravitz is a great, I like Lenny Kravitz. I've always liked him since I was a kid. But Lenny Kravitz will never be considered one of the best ever. He's a great artist. I like his music, but he's never gonna. Same thing as J. Cole. So the pro wax, the dark skinned supremacists, they always reference these two mulattoes because they're kind of like B-listers, if I can say that. They're on the sidelines. They're never the number one guys. See, Drake is a number one guy. That's why they don't like him, because he's a mulatto who's number one, right? Many mixed people are groomed for this purpose. The terminology is very accurate. They are literally groomed, and it starts at a young age as well, where they're programmed to be subordinates to Blackistan. This happens at a very young age. The programming starts very young. In a majority white country, it's frustrating to be shamed into submission, as if we are meant to live for promoting a community that doesn't entirely reflect us. Exactly. I don't look like these Bantus. Like you put me next to them, we don't look the same. And I share images. I know biracial awareness. He's out in the UK. He shares images as well. You put a mulatto or a mixed person next to a white person, next to a black, you can clearly see the difference, right? So why, but they want to position you to like represent them, to uplift them, but they don't represent you. They don't even fucking look like you. It's very, very sad. I mean, you see these mulattoes who look white as George Bush, but they're sitting here swearing they're black. See, what they'll do is they'll try to put on a little black scent to act and try to talk like they're kind of black and stuff like that. Because they know that they got to stay out in the sun all day, every season to get to blacken it up. Like they'll never be black. You got a white mama. You're a biracial chick. You got a white mama. You're never going to be black. I mean, you can try to talk and act hood all you want. You're pale and pasty with a nasty attitude. You are not black. You can pretend and act black, but everyone's looking at you like you're super cringe. I mean, Michi X is a good example, but it's you guys already know what's going on, right? Yeah. It feels as though we have to be seen the way they project us to be because we don't center our lives around promoting black identity. I love being who I am as a person first and as a mixed mulatto woman, but the manipulation and pressure makes me genuinely, concerned about this situation. Their women have also had channels for years pushing conspiracy theories of the same kind, but from a more matriarchal point of view. And they also have mixed daughters. It's exhausting. That's crazy. You got these like dumbass divestors who are pushing this pro wax shit, but yet they got a white, partner, whatever. They got mixed kids, but they still want to push the pro wax shit. Like they want their mixed kids to be pro wax. Like, look at this guy, Phil Advice Show, the Africa Dysphoria Network. He's got a Mexican wife, Mexican partner. He's got a mixed kid. He's literally gonna try to program, I think it's a daughter as well. He's a mixed daughter. He's gonna try to program her, this lady, this young woman with a young female with a Mexican mom, he's going to try to program her to be pro black, pro whack. It's like, this is what it is. They're going to try to program them to be pro black. It's exhausting. There are malignant people in their communities, communitas, that they love us a bit too much. They love you so much they want to destroy you and neutralize you. A lot of you mulattoes haven't figured it out yet. And when I bring it to light, when I share the evidence, the data, you guys get mad at me, the messenger. Okay, stay mad. You people unsubscribe and then you subscribe again because where else are you going to get this information? I get it. People could say I'm bitter, I have an angry tone, I use choice words that are very kind of, you know, um, nasty and negative, and I get it. Okay, that's fine. You can go listen to somebody else who will lie to your ass. If you want the straight up, no chaser, no bullshit, real deal, you're gonna listen to me. Yeah, I know you'll get tired of me, you'll unsubscribe, but guess what? Your bitch ass is gonna come back over here, baby. You're gonna come back right over here. You're gonna subscribe, or even if you don't subscribe, you're gonna listen, ho. I know you will. I know you will. And you put here, yeah, they love us a little bit too much. And I can only hope for their offspring to eventually find healthy, clear minded people to pull them out of this muddy water. The next years will be interesting for the Western world. Don't give up. Take care of your finances and mental health. I wish you the best. From Quebec, Canada. Yeah. Majestic Butterfly. Yeah, shout out to her. I know who she is. She's been a supporter for a minute, for sure. A French Canadian lady up in Quebec. And yeah, she's like basically in a kind of an outsider, observing, looking in. She can see it for what it is. Like all of us can kind of see it now. We're comparing notes internationally. Like I said, and I got Pardos in Brazil. I got South African colors. We got people in France and the UK. Like we're all comparing notes and looking at the situation like, okay, where do we go from here? Okay. We're going to have to do something with this. We can't just sit up here and just cry and complain all day. We're going to have to move forward with a consorted effort and an agenda that's beneficial and ultimately that serves us in our interest. Because they want to position you to be a subordinate indefinitely, where other people reap the benefits of your hard labor and your work and sweat equity. And I'm not having that. My whole position here is I tell people, look, they owe us. They need to pay us, period. If they want something, they need to pay us. Okay. People can take it how they want, but they need to pay us. They owe us money. They're going to pay us. If they want mulattoes to be up in their clique and representing anything, there's going to be a price attached to that. I'm just one guy. I'm like, they need to pay us, period. Nothing I'm doing out here is for free. For the mulattoes, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of freebies for sure. Love you, beautiful people. You mulattoes make me proud. But my job is to encourage you guys to have some self-worth, have some self-respect, establish something, communicate with other people, build something upon that. We're not going anywhere. This idea that we're just going to fizzle out and be absorbed like the mulattoes have been the past 100 years, like that's not the trajectory I see today based off these trends in social media, the environment, geopolitically. We're not going to continuously be reabsorbed. There's always going to be those, the biracial hood boogers who want to fit in with the blacks. You're always going to have them. That's fine. You're going to have a growing number of people like me and others, men and women. We want our own and we're going to build upon our own, period. We're doing it right now. So shout out to Renata Malata. This comment here, she puts here, really there would not be an identity crisis if there were a simple label to acknowledge. Some say, quote unquote, you do not need a label. But labels are necessary because our minds naturally compartmentalize information. Labels help us describe and understand different experiences. If mulattoes are forced to identify as black when their experiences do not align with that label, or when they have an unbalanced exposure to one race more than the other, it can negatively impact their sense of self. People often try to hurt mulattoes by chastising this really unfortunate common experience. Yeah, they want to basically use you as a utilitarian class, weaponize your position, and use it against you for their benefit, for their political gain, where the blacks will use you to try to get access to whites. The whites will use you to try to get you to represent what blackness is. And it's like, well, I'm not a black like them. You got to go talk to them. Don't talk to me. Like, because they're comfortable with you. But we are not victims because of it. This world was not designed with us in mind. That's the key thing. This world was not designed with us in mind. You have to understand the unfortunate reality of the situation we are in, we mulattoes. Especially if you're here residing in the United States of America, they've literally had laws implemented that made it illegal for you to exist. They've made it illegal for people to come together and to create more of you. Illegal. They removed your racial category, and with all these anti-miscegenation laws and all this, they've literally made it illegal for you to have any political representation, for you to exist out here. People don't understand really the severity of these implications. People don't get that. They don't conceive that. I mean, I'm speaking right now to the Americans. You Americans listen to me. Other people from other countries, I don't know what they're doing with out there, but in the United States of America, in this political environment we're in, like, this is real shit. This is real serious stuff. They literally did not intend for you to be a body politic, for you to have any type of representation, for you to even be influential or competitive in the society. They've done everything they can to try to neutralize you. And they've had laws in place to make it to where your whole presence is illegal. A lot of people still haven't figured it out yet. Like, this is what we're up against. But we are not victims because of it. The world was not designed with us in mind. However, we can and should carve our own path, advocate, and defend ourselves and other mulattoes against disrespect and mistreatment for being mixed race. And that's what I'm doing. And trust me, I get a lot of hell for it, right? I get a lot of hell because, you know, I got a big mouth. What can I say? But who else is doing this? Who else? You point me to in their direction. I'd love to know. But this is it. Yeah. You know, we can and should carve our own path. We have to. There's no other way. Like, to me, the way I look at it is very dire situation. There's no other option. You have to literally carve and create your own path. You have to advocate, be your own self advocate. You have to defend ourselves. Like, you see these white nationalist incels talking shit about mulatto, male, babies, and children. You got to defend them, not the white incel scum cucks. I'm talking about, you got to defend the future mulattoes. You have to defend them. Okay. The disrespect and mistreatment, they feel like they can openly disrespect you. And the blacks, the Bantus, they're working with the Mexicans, the Latinos are working with the whites to disrespect you. This is a reality, a situation we're in, because they feel like you're a population, you're a group with no real representation. They feel like they can do and say whatever the fuck they want until you check their fucking ass. Then they cry and whine and say, you're out of pocket, you're violent, you're disrespectful, let's censor you, let's cancel you, right? Then they pull all of that stuff once you really grind on their ass. This is a situation, right? And it's the responsibility of the men. The men got to step it up. A lot of you guys are. I see you guys. This is the situation we are in currently. Let me go into another comment, and I'll drop the link if you guys want to hop up here. These are just the comments that I didn't, get a chance to get into yesterday evening, so doing it right now. All right, so we got Val here. Her comment puts, so mulatto criminals are mulatto, and law-abiding successful mulattoes are black. Yeah, according to the kind of standard of Blackistan, basically. They're gonna claim the mulattoes that make them look good, but if you commit a crime, all of a sudden you're mixed race, you're not black, right? But if you win a gold medal at the Olympics, you bet your bottom dollar the fucking blacks are gonna say, that's a black Kang or Quang, right? All these mixed race people, man, all these mulattoes who win gold at the Olympics, okay, who achieve something great in society, a lot of these fucking blacks are gonna say, oh, well, that's a black win. But as soon as that mulatto does a crime or does something unfavorable in society, the same fucking blacks are gonna let you know he's not black, he's actually mixed race, right? You guys should know the game right now. You can cry like a bitch all you want about my language and my delivery. You're gonna stay fucking crying as long as I'm up here blabbing my mouth. This is the reality of the situation. You can go tune in and listen to somebody else who's gonna sugarcoat it and talk about some celebrity drama fucking hoe shit. But we're gonna go over the real situation out here. You put here, well, both are mulatto, regardless of what they do or don't do. Nobody wants to play their stupid mind games. Remember, if we disagree with them, they say, that's your white side because you got a white mama. You got a white daddy. That's your white side. That's the white man, because I work for the white man. And I'm a pro whack and I love Kendrick. I like mixed chicks, but I don't like the mixed men. I'm a dark skinned pro whack from the hood. You dig, right? So, in a quote unquote, well, whites will just say his black side made him violent. Or I kind of got a reverse and effed up. The quote unquote is, I apologize, that's your white side. That's yo white side, yo. Because you from the hood, you dig, right? So that's the quote unquote. But you put here, yeah, the whites will just say that's your black side, right? Making him violent. Yeah. They both play the same game. Like I said, and they both work together. This is what I'm trying to drill in people's heads. And I'm going to show a lot more proof into the future as I'm getting into this. Like they all work together. The whites will say that's your black side. The blacks are going to say that's your white side. And they all work together. They're all scheming behind your back, and not even behind your back, out in the open now, to try to use your ass because they're trying to maneuver you in a subordinate position. And what they're battling, basically the whites and the blacks, are who are going to be able to have access to use the mulatto class. That's what they're fighting for. They think they're the only race that tries to pick us apart and talk about us. Like we have two different minds and personalities based on our parents being two different races. Nope. As long as they are using this white side thing, whites will be using the black side thing. That's what they do to attack each other. Yeah. Because the whites are going to attack you for your black side, and the blacks are going to attack you for your white side. But the reality, what I figured out with a lot of the blacks is they're going to attack you for your black side. They're envious of your white side. They wish they had that proximity to whiteness. But ultimately, because they hate themselves, they're going to attack the fact that you're partially black. See, that's why they weaponized the one drop rule. They're going to attack you for your black side, right? That's really what it is. We'll get more into that later, but just wanted to hop up here and talk my shit for a minute. Go over those comments that I didn't get to get through yesterday. Let me drop the link. I got some of you people up in here listening. If you guys want to come up here and challenge me or talk some shit, the door's open. I'm not going to be up here late. I got some fights I want to watch. UFC's got some fights. So, what do you guys got for me? I appreciate the work you're doing for our people. The mulatto is the only mixed identity that consistently faces criticism. Yeah, and I like Hoppas, I like Blasians and other mixed race configurations, but let's be real, let's be honest. The mulatto is the one who's kind of in the crossfires, the one who's highlighted, the one that they hate the most. right? The blacks and the whites and other groups as well, other demographics as well. They hate your unique position because you are in a powerful position as a diplomat, as an intermediary. You can pull people together, but also you're in a very advantageous position as a mulatto. A lot of us, we don't understand that. A lot of us don't feel like we have an option. We're just fixed in to just serve the blacks. Kind of unfortunate. Did I share the link? I did share the link. Yeah. Yeah, I got the link up there. Okay, let's see what we got. Let me check out some of your comments here. You put, I remember when Phil complained Tamara Mowry was married to a white person, even though Phil Advice was married to a Mexican. Hypocrite much. Hypocrite much, right? Dark skin, black male, pathology, crying about who everyone else is, especially mixed women, because they feel like they own mixed women, right? So they're gonna cry and complain when like a Zendaya or a Holly Berry or a Doja Cat, when these mixed women don't choose their black ass, they're gonna whine and cry, right? Even though they got like non-black partners. I knew he was married to a non-black woman. He showed his daughter on camera once and she was lighter than him, not his phenotype. Yeah, she wasn't dark like him. Yeah, it's a dead giveaway. Yeah, so he showed his pathology. He's got a lot of fans. He's got millions of subscribers, a big platform. Very typical of them. Yeah. You put the way these incel types will go in on a mulatto child is sick. Yeah. Renata Tamara has a successful marriage compared to Tia. Shout out to introverted smile, South African colored, and yeah, Jacob Star. It's never an insult to be called a mulatto. I don't think I've ever been called a mulatto as an insult. I don't know. Maybe some baboon was thinking he was funny or something. I was like, oh, thank you for acknowledging me for my accurate race classification. I'm not like you. Thank you for acknowledging I'm not like you. I don't remember anyone else ever. I think there was a white boy, I think but I was talking shit. This was in San Diego. This was I was like, yeah, I was in a Costco. I remember I said some slurs to him. I saw him because what it is, I saw his little Nazi haircut. They got their little, they have some, grooming standards and haircuts and clothes, apparel, their wear, to indicate some symbols. They'll indicate how they politically align. So he had this little Nazi haircut, and I was in the moment, whatever. I was talking some fucking shit, kind of called him out in front of everybody. I was ready to, you know, and he said some shit back. I kind of laughed and smirked. It's funny. I had a Prince t-shirt on too. He said mulatto something. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I smiled. I am a mulatto, pussy. You already know what it is. This is a few years ago. I got some people who want to jump on here. So we got the Owl Show and then we got Four Light. What's going on, guys?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious. I guess I had asked this in the chat, but what precisely do you mean by community service?
Sorry. Community what?
Community service. The title of your live is Mulatto Community Service. So what
Yeah,
is the community service?
the community service is providing advocacy, providing a voice, helping to bring people out of the shadow, networking, a think tank. The whole premise is establishing a think tank where we can exchange ideas, share information, and of course, plan for the future. The whole idea, look, the thing is that this is a public platform. Everyone's tuning in, everyone's listening. We got it, right? But ultimately, the community service is we're serving everybody. We're informing the public of our position of what we're doing out here. It's, you could say it's very broad, but I mean, what other kind of further explanation is needed? It's a community service. We're mulattoes.
Yeah.
And I said this in the stream. The mulattoes are not going anywhere. I said this like several minutes ago. Like, so this idea that we're just going to get brushed under the rug, like, you're always going to have the black identified mulattoes who want to be absorbed by Blackistan and they want to just serve black people. You're always going to have those types. I said this several minutes ago. But you're gonna have guys like me and gals like in the chat. You have ladies, and like you're always gonna have people who are like, look, we want to maintain what we have. So I speak.
Well,
Go ahead.
you're going to have that because everything changed around the beginning of the 20th century. So when everything changed around the beginning of the 20th century, you you saw lack of cohesion of communities because, at least with the mixed race community, um because of the change in status, the change in racial status. So, there had to be a way to adapt. The idea of being able to have an independent community or to have an independent class was eroded, and it was being destroyed because of the one drop rule and Plessy v. Ferguson. That was just the way it was. And so, that legacy really, I mean, that aspect is still had a hard time changing, there is a hard time adapting, because what you don't have is the old, let's put it in the terms you like to use, mulatto community. The old mulatto community that I spoke about at once here, E. Franklin Frazier's Black Bourgeoisie, that book, I suggest people read it. Um, that old mulatto class or community has basically been eroded, if not really kind of almost gone. In some respects, you had some outliers like the Creoles in Louisiana who were kind of tight, but I think even Creoles, I think a number of them see themselves as black now. Again, what happened with the one drop rule is it eroded the mixed race class and mixed race community. So when you don't have a community, not in the sense of just people living together or in the same block or in the same geographical area, but a group of people who are part of a ethnic group, um, then what you have is a lack of identification. So the people you talk about can't identify because they don't have a class of people or a community of people that they will have to answer to, or that or there's no mechanism that will make them answer to them. The only people they can answer to are African Americans, because that's the only community that they've known. So community is a huge factor. It's been a huge factor when it comes to mixed race people in this country. At least that's what I've talked to people about on biracial groups and so forth. You look at community, where you grew up and where you were raised and how people treated you is a huge factor. It's the biggest factor, I think. Not that family isn't, but you can choose to like decide, hey, I don't want to deal with this family member or these family members. You can't choose to say, oh, I'll ignore a community, or whether it's geographic or otherwise. You got to
The
live
thing,
somewhere.
the thing with that though, Al, is you can pack up your stuff and leave and go somewhere else, right?
That's true, but you always have to deal with a place.
Yes.
Community is a place
Yeah.
and a group of people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's dual. So
This
you
is
can pick
why.
up your stuff and go, but yeah. But
This is why. You guys can hear me. You guys can hear me.
Yeah, your audio's good.
yeah, I can
Oh,
hear you.
okay. I just wanted to make sure. This is why I look at the like you said, the mulattoes have to the community there because they associate themselves with the black community, so they have to kind of answer to them in a way. But then when they see the black community showing them a light of hate or darkness of hate, for a better term, that will lead them to start talking, right? They'll start having conversations, which is what is happening online, right? Even the women are getting the hate. There's a lot of women creating channels and stuff like that. And one thing I learned about the internet is that news spread very fast on the internet, and I'm seeing channels after channels being created every day. I'm seeing people messaging me, private messaging me. I'm seeing people contacting me to have this conversation. And especially the men, right? And when the man starts seeing what's happening to their image, there's going to be a widespread of them um, fighting for their image back, because there's a spirit inside of men where when we see something being done to us internally, that's being spread more, on a social scale and on a market scale when it comes to dating and stuff like that. Man will fight back. So this is why I look at this whole Kendrick Drake thing. It can be seen as a curse, but it can also be seen as a blessing, because it's telling the mulattoes and waking up the mulattoes, both the women and the men, that we're not needed anymore. Like, we're not needed in this community anymore. Matter of fact, I think it should have been done, because the black community has offered nothing to the mulattoes. If you guys really want to think about it, the mulattoes have offered so many things to the black community, but the black community have offered nothing to the mulattoes. And the thing is, you can't associate yourself with a community that will always play the victim role, because no matter what the mulattoes do for them, you guys are supposed to do that because we're the victims, and we're not supposed to do anything back to you guys because we're the victims.
So here's what isn't understood, just to let you know, in response to that. This is why history and also examining mixed race people in other countries is important now. What a lot of mixed race, meaning black, white, biracial people in this country lack is an understanding or knowledge of the history of mixed race people, which is admittedly sometimes hard to find. It's not easy necessarily, but they lack it. And so, if there is, again, what I mentioned before, if there is no community, and you come from a community that is not a mixed race one, because you're in a monoracial community, then that's the community that you know. But what mixed race people, black, white mixed race people don't understand, not necessarily don't understand, but don't know, is history. So they don't have an understanding of the old mulatto communities, of the old mixed biracial and multiracial communities, whether it's Charleston, South Carolina, or New Orleans, Louisiana, free persons of color. They don't know. And if they don't know, how would they be able? They can only respond the way they respond. If you grow up and that's why community is an important factor, right?
Now,
But also history is. Go ahead.
for light, I wanted to, share this with you. You see the image here on the screen. You have Marcus Garvey, and it says "verse Blue Vein Society." Look at the image of the female on the screen next to Marcus Garvey. What do you
Yep.
see? This woman looks more European than she does African, but yet she is going to be the biggest caper and going to be a colorism kind of advocate or defender. She's gonna be so pro dark skin, but she's the lightest female you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, that is devoid of identity, of pride, and of purpose. Like, she's serving somebody else that's not in her image. There's something defunct and wrong with the psyche of an individual like that. Look at
I,
her.
I've s- I've seen that countless of times, my friend. I mean, I should delete TikTok, but I've been on TikTok. I went on these panels. I need to start recording these panels. I've been on TikTok where I have conversation with lighter skinned girls. And, shout out to the lighter skinned sisters that get it, but a lot of them a lot of them. I don't know. I'm surprised that I did not notice this. It's like a it's like a disease that spread slowly but so rapidly to the point where we didn't even see it. And a lot of these ladies, for some reason, they believe that they have to prove their blackness. They have to prove that they're part of the community,
And
right?
they hate themselves. They hate
And
themselves, and they can be
there's
exploited. They can be exploited,
yeah,
and darker
that's
skinned
what's
men
happening
exploit them and use them because they know they hate themselves, so they can wield blackness over them. Go ahead, sorry.
Well,
because
here's go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead, Adam.
Go ahead,
Well, what I'm going to
Fortnite, I
say is
wanna hear
this.
you. I wanna hear Fortlight. Go ahead, Fortlight, please.
Yeah, even just they even just in the concept when the and I hate to go back to this even though it's already finished, but when the Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing happened, and then Kendrick made a song about how Drake can't say the N word no more. Then I went on Twitter, which is now called X, where you have all these women, all it was women, no men, all these light skinned girls that was posting up pictures of quote unquote their fathers or whatever, their dark skinned mother or whatever, and say, we're black, trying to pander towards these people to prove that they're black because the black community have put out this facade or this image or this weird thing. I don't want to curse on your panel, that being the black side is the good side and it's the cool side. We're the good guys. So when you're with us, you're with the good people, and you got to prove to us that you're with the good people. And if you're not with us, then you're not the good people. And what that has done, because the good people is proclaimed to be the victims, right? So they claim to be the victims. And what that has done to the minds of a lot of mulattoes, it has led the mulattoes to believe that the white side is the evil side, and the dark side is the good side, which makes them give them this illusion to fight for the dark side. But the reality of it all is that both side is bad. The white side and the dark side is bad. Both of them are evil. Both of them have done evil stuff. This is why when they talk about slavery, they don't go any further. They just talk about the slavery between the white men and them. They have also in enticed themselves with slavery themselves. They don't go any further. They don't go any backwards or further, right? That's why they remain there, and the only reason why they remain there is because the white man is on top and the white man is basically in control. So that they believe in their mind, they actually believe the white man is superior to them. So this is the reason why they go for the mulattoes or attack the mulattoes, because they believe that by attacking the mulattoes, that's the closest way they can attack the quote unquote white man or white system, right? And the sisters have been brainwashed to believe that the white man is a bad, evil person, the dark side is a good person. So we got to fight, you know, the white man or try to prove ourselves that we're black. Sorry, I'm ranting, but go ahead.
No, you're good. I mean, that's why I gave you the mic. I wanted you because everything you were saying was spot on. It was completely spot on. Yeah, a lot of people are hoodwinked into falling into that position, this virtuous position where they feel like they're just, fighting for this virtuous, honorable kind of situation. But like you said, the whole thing is that fighting and proving their blackness, it never ends. There's always going to be a new task that's presented to them. It's never just like a one and done or a couple things. Like it doesn't matter what they do. They're always going to be consistently questioned. Their blackness is going to be questioned. They're always going to have to you know, uh, they're gonna always have to prove themselves. Even with Drake, like it's funny with the Drake, he did that whole song "God's Plan" that has billions of views, and he's given all these black people money supporting black people in that music video and all this stuff, but like that's not good enough. He still has to prove himself. Like you can't say nigga no more. You still got
Perfect
to prove
example.
it's never good enough. And that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter like how much caping you do. There a lot of these people, they're gonna wield it over your head, and it's to try to position you as a subordinate. And I like what you said that basically the whites and the blacks, a lot of they're both basically a lot of they're both evil. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying a lot of them, especially
Well,
use the mulattoes, they're both evil. They're both taking advantage of a situation that's presented in front of them. Go ahead, Al.
well, here's you guys are looking at it more from some kind of psychological conditioning and form of analysis. And you can look at it that way, and if that's the way you want to see it, I guess that's your point of view. I keep it simple. What you have to understand, and this is why I talk about history, but the two aspects are looking at mixed race people in other countries and seeing them and trying to understand them, and also looking at trying to find the history of black, white, biracial people in the U.S. You, the reason why that's important is you get an understanding of mixed race people and community, and again, it really comes down to community. I don't think it's a matter of being a what did you call it, a mule, or um, serving people or anything. If you grow up in a certain community and you don't see other mixed race people, or you don't deal with mixed race people, that can have an impact. Like I said, I've been in biracial groups where sometimes people come up and they've never talked to mixed race people. They've never met other biracial or multiracial people because they didn't grow up in a community like that. They didn't grow up around other mixed race people. And so, one of the things that you have to look at is the segregated nature of the United States. You got to understand how deeply that impacts mixed race people. You also have to understand that with people like the lady you just mentioned and so forth, you have to understand that, again, because of what happened historically, there aren't a lot of models for people about mixed race. That's why you see these mixed race people who are negative about other mixed race people. They're like, you don't. I've heard some biracial people say, there's no mulatto culture or biracial culture. There's no this, there's no that.
Well, Al,
And
just to kind of
but,
cut in real quick, the same guy who was tagging you in posts and videos and trying to basically attack you, the same guy, he's one of those type of biracials who's basically saying
mhm.
there's no such thing as a mulatto nation. There's no such thing as mulattoes culture or this or that. And the same guy who was attacking you, he's one of those type of characters where they
It wouldn't
attack
surprise me.
other mulattoes. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Again, what I'm saying is that it's not a matter of this, conditioning and socialization that's necessarily targeting mixed race people. It's a matter of community. That's why I've said elsewhere, community is so important to the development of mixed race people and biracial people and multiracial people, because often, I guess, and I've seen this talking to some biracial people, some people have never talked to other biracial people. And even when I went into biracial groups, what I recognized when I was 40, even though I grew up in a multiracial place, I realized I did not really understand the experiences or know about the lives and experiences of a number of mixed race people. I didn't know that. And so, I had it a little better than most. But you have to understand that when it comes to these people, so it's not always that they're some kind of that they're like Frankenstein's monster, a creation in some kind of racial laboratory. It's because they grew up in communities where they're trying to fit in, and the reason why they won't fit in is because they're biracial and multiracial, and at some level in those communities, and this is what I've tried to tell to some other biracial people. You have to understand, you're a even if you're mixed race, you're still kind of a guest in another community. Even if you grew up there, you're still an outsider
You're an outsider.
because
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's what I've tried. I've tried to
And
get people to understand,
I
and they
like
don't
how
understand it. Go ahead.
I like Val's comment here because like she has a lot of knowledge, her experience. We're around the same age. I think she's a couple years older. So we're millennials. But like, yeah, I didn't grow up in a black community, although like I was always
Hmm.
connected with my black side, my black family on my
Right,
father's side. So I would see them and visit them very frequently as
right.
a child growing up. But like she puts here, I'm gonna read the comment. That's one
Hmm.
thing I do feel bad about for fellow mulattoes with white moms, not knowing how bad the black community is in reality and seek that community out as adults. That's the standard mulatto protocol, because the standard mulatto, this criteria or definition that was already established. I just saw the research out here that someone already documented before me. They're basically stating that a lot of the standard mulatto has a white mom, they grew up in white suburban communities, and once they become adults, they become more kind of entrenched in searching for a black identity, and typically through academia. When they go to college, they search and try to do more community service or find their black identity. I fall in line with that, and that's the thing. I had to kind of learn the hard way. Basically, I had to learn through experience, like
Well, see,
navigating
that's a
some of their
different
circles.
experience.
And she
That's a
and
different
and
experience.
Val understands because she kind of grew up in that community, and I agree with her. She's put several comments where she's basically saying, yeah, a lot of guys or people like me, we don't understand just how the trickery that they're involved with and like how they manipulate. And a lot of us, we don't know. Like we're going to them with a good sense, a good like what we call like a philanthropist mindset or good sense of like we want to do good and connect with people. But a lot of people look at us as marks. They want to use us, and that's unfortunate reality that a lot of us fall into. But go ahead, Al.
Well, see, that's a different kind of experience. So you're talking about having a experience outside of that community. And so it's curiosity. And so the development of trying to fit into that community is very different than, say, a biracial or mixed race person who grew up in that community. Those are two very different experiences. I mean, you could say that it leads to a kind of outcome where it's a matter of embracing a certain identity, but it's a different kind of experience. So it's interesting. I mean, like, I don't understand that experience myself. I don't get that myself, but I understand. But I know it from talking to and seeing other people. Um, Again, my experience is not growing up in such a community either, but having a kind of neutral view. In other words, I don't look at things from a positive or negative point of view. I look at it more from a pragmatic point of view. Because from my point of view, I look at it because I grew up around other kinds of people. It's a more multiracial environment. I have an objective way of looking at things. And so therefore there I didn't have the need to. So when you talk about some of the people that you mentioned, there's a need to fit. There's a need to, how do I put this for those? There's a need to, because they identify. There's a need to try to fit, to be accepted and approved. But you have to understand. Again, I cite this again. You're an outsider, even if you're raised in that community. You're still an outsider,
The
and
problem,
they don't
Al,
understand that because the
Al, the
family hasn't
pro,
taught them. Go ahead.
Al, the problem is with those wannabes, the black identified mixed people. In order for them to fit in, to get acceptance, what they're fighting for, they have to attack us, meaning those of us who know we're biracial or mixed race and we identify as
That's
such.
true. That's true.
In
Sadly,
order for them to fit in to that monoracial community, specifically black, because that's usually how it works out, they have to attack us. They have to show black people basically, oh, well, he's the racist. He's anti-black. He's the bad guy. So attack him. That's how they gain their stripes. That's how they prove to black people that they're the acceptable biracial.
And here's
This
the
is
sad
how it
part. Here's
works
the sad
out.
And here's the sad part about that: they attack you guys while they themselves are getting attacked. That's the sad part. So while they themselves are being effeminized as men, the women are being bullied, the women are being called all kinds of names, the women are being passed around to multiple men. And this does happen because even when I was going to high school myself, amongst the black community, they would preferred the lighter skinned women. And what they would do, there was a thing called running a train, where they would run train on these girls in these trap houses. And they preferred like the Latinas or the lighter skinned mixed women, right? Because to them, that was kind of like a fetish of them, right? I don't know if you guys remember, it still is a thing, but it was like very big in the community, where a lot of these black men was talking about how they wanted to get these white women to wipe out the white race, right? This was a whole thing that they were talking about, how the white man is effeminate, and we're going to wipe you guys out by fornicating with these white women and wipe out the white race. And some liberal white women were joining it too, talking about how they don't like white men and stuff. Like that was a thing. It still is kind of like a thing today, but it was like very big back in the early 2000s. And the thing is, a lot of thing, if you guys don't know, a lot of lighter skinned brothers, and you can hear stories. My best friend is light skinned and stuff like that. A lot of them were bullied in the black community. Also, a lot of them had to go through a lot of fights. They hated lighter skinned men just because they were just lighter skinned. This is a thing. So that's the sad part about that, mulatto, is that even in the midst of them attacking you, they're also being attacked by the black community.
That's interesting. When I talk with biracial people in mixed race groups, I didn't hear as much about bullying with the men as I did with women. Um, with women, yeah, I had mixed race women tell me, I don't know how many. I mean, it was like two, three many stories. That's where I heard it from. Men, not as much. So that's why when it's the subject of bullying and all that has come up in terms of mixed race guys or women or whatever, I can only, from my experience, I can only certify that's women because the women actually told me. Guys, nah, they didn't tell me. So I didn't get that as much. It would seem more like rejection. What I learned from mixed race guys in the
Al,
groups was
Al,
about the stereotypes.
the
What
thing
I
is, a
learned
lot of
was,
don't talk
but
about their experience because men have been
I
taught
see.
that they are supposed to put up this toughness character at all time, even in the midst of being bullied. Like a lot of men won't bring up the stories of them something happening to them in the past, right? And my best friend
That's
who's
a possibility. I think you may have a point there. You may have
yeah,
a point.
my best friend who's of a really light skin, he's Haitian, very light skin brother. He told me that he don't really talk about it. The only person that he really tells this stuff to is me because he knows my character. And yeah, it's crazy. And me personally, I've seen it myself in high school. I've seen, yeah, and you're absolutely right about the women. Also, the women they go crazy on the mulattoes, lighter skinned sisters. But go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I think that's a fair point. What the only thing I said is when this comes up, the only thing I can certify in terms of what I've been told is about women or about females, however people want to say it, but I'll just say women. I can't certify it with men because guys never really talked to me about whether they were picked on, at least not bullying that I heard of. I guess maybe for some of the guys, they weren't bullied. It's a possibility. What I heard from them, though, was the stereotypes. It was like, oh, the feminine, soft, weak thing, or how they were treated by guys or men. So that stereotype, yeah, I was told about that. That's where I first heard about it. And I was kind of taken aback. I was like, what? They think they think because somebody's mixed race, they're like soft or something. I couldn't understand that. But yeah, the only thing I can say in that regard is I take it from a safe perspective. Like, I just go, look, this is what I'm told by women. They definitely came out and said we were bullied. I had a number tell me that. Men, not that I recall. But I think your point about not talking about it because of masculinity or something, I think that's a fair enough point. It could be something difficult to discuss. Some guys don't have a problem with that, but others do. But again, what I try to make people realize is, like, you have to understand, within a ethnic or racial community, people look out for themselves. So if you're an African American community, they're going to look out for number one. And mixed race people in America have generally looked out for themselves. And it was when things over the years that's gotten a little more difficult. That's why you have the issues that you have now. Because again, there aren't these mixed race communities. You don't have these mixed race classes where people have a sense of who they are and are integrated in a structure where they can deal with that. They think that that's some kind of, I don't know, fiction, that didn't exist, but
Well,
it did
not
exist.
only that, they think it's a bad thing. They think it's negative. You'll talk to a lot of biracial hood boogers who have, black baby daddies. They think it's a bad, a negative thing for mixed race people to look out for themselves and advocate for themselves for self-preservation. That's going to be your biggest basically opposition. You have the biracial baby mamas that have bumped heads with you, Al, and also the other gentleman on the panel, for life.
Right.
You'll have these, they basically they want to fight for their position within the black community. And these are baby mamas. And these are not like civilized, decent people. These are biracial baby mamas, but they want to attack biracial men to try to fit in with and the black people don't even respect them. That's the sad part. Like I get more respect from black people than them because I have skill sets, I have knowledge, like I bring something to the table that black people can respect. That's the interesting thing about it. Like all the caping and the fake hood shit that some of these baby mamas try to promote, it's like they can easily be replaced by somebody else. But you
Yeah.
know,
To Al's point, right, and then to your point, Al point, like when these brothers are being called effeminate and and such like that, that in a sense can be a form of bullying. But just to further the sense of them not talking about it, but if you're being called the feminine and you're soft and stuff like that, that will lead people not to talk about certain things because they don't want to come off soft. And to Mulatto's point, yeah, I mean, the thing, it's going to be mulattoes, and unfortunately it's going to be more and listen, I love the sisters, the mulatto sisters, licensed sisters, but unfortunately I think that's going to be most of your um um kind of pushbacks, because a lot of sisters, like you said, they, like what Al said, a lot of them have been bullied into submission. A lot of the sisters, the mulatto sisters, they've been bullied and brutalized into submission. Perfect example, look at the Nature Boy, right? I did a video on that. I know you guys know about the Nature Boy guy
mhm.
who had all these girls, light skinned girls, literally bowing before him, calling him God, this dark skinned guy, right? And one of the tactics that he used on one of this beautiful, beautiful mulatto sister, gorgeous. One of the tactics he used on her was saying that you're acting white. Don't you want to prove that you're black? I did a video. I promise you, I'm not lying. This was one of the tactics he used on this beautiful mulatto girl. Destroyed her life, and I heard he was allegedly roaming around with all kind of STIs because he was also into men. Right? Telling this girl, "Hey, this is why I don't like you lighter skinned sisters, because you think you're white. This is it. I promise you, I'm not lying." So these mulatto sisters have been brutalized into submission to the point where they will attack a mulatto brother just for defending. the space of mulattoes, for example, right? And just a last point, right? The attack that I got from that mulatto sister, the mulatto lady, right? The attack did not come until I started talking about dark skinned men.
Right,
When I
right, right.
well, when I was talking about how badly mulatto sisters are being bullied, when I was talking about that we need to mulatto sisters, you know, are beautiful. I was just saying all great things about mulatto sisters, and talking about the oppression that mulatto sisters are facing by the black community. They were all in my comments. They were cheering on. They were happy. But when I discussed about darkism, which is one of my videos, the worship of dark skinned men, all of a sudden the attack went ham. All of a sudden I'm a weird guy. All of a
Yeah,
sudden I'm
yeah,
this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And it's almost like they themselves have bought into this concept of the
yes,
worship of dark skinned men. And
yes,
and
exactly.
listen, oh man, I said wanted to say last one, but let me just say this one more other thing. I'm sorry for taking up your time. But another thing that's crazy is that this is the same tactics of the black community, right? Because the black community, they want you mulattoes to defend them. They want you guys to fight for them. They want you guys to pick up for them. But as soon as you guys start picking up for somebody else or picking up for yourself, all of a sudden you guys are this, you guys are that, and this brainwashing mechanism have also collide with a lot of sisters, unfortunately.
Yeah. So speaking to what you had said before, Vanguard. Um, speaking to
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Al. You're good.
speaking to what I had said before, to what you had said before, the reason. So when you talk about the opposition from some mixed race people, again, you have to look at where do they come from. If they're raised in a certain community, that's what you know. There's no sense of a mixed race identity, and there's no interest in a mixed race identity because they've already rejected that, because they don't see it as, even though that's the reality that they're mixed race people, they don't see that as a functional reality for them. It's not plausible, it's not possible. They're in a community, a monoracial community. That's possible because they're around people, there's a culture, there's this, that, and the other thing. They don't see anything outside of that. So one of the reasons that I don't deal with the wannabes or some of these people is because it's a waste of time, because there's no common ground, because they don't have any, not only feasible mixed race identity, but they don't even have a positive point of view about being mixed race. They don't regard it. They some of them regard it as like a joke. It's silly. It's not even worth discussing. So it reminds me of what Lorne Michaels, the producer of Saturday Night Live, used to say to people who he was talking to about hosting the show, and they would say, TV sucks, it's terrible, it's horrible, I don't like TV. And he says, well, if you don't like TV, there's not much for us to discuss now, is there? I mean, again, it really comes down to, if you don't like what you are, or you're not interested in what you are, then really what is there to discuss? What is there to deal with? What is there to have anything to do with? And that's why I have this policy of, I don't deal with people like that, right? Because when I've come into contact with these individuals, it's like, okay, you've made yourself pretty clear. I'm not going to convince you to deal with the reality of what you are, because I don't think that's my job. And I think it's offensive too. Like, it's like I'm trying to force you to be you, or what you really are. I don't want to do that. I don't think that anybody should do that. Like, that's why I always say, I've said this in groups. I said, you have to leave those people alone. You have to allow them to get the biracial wake up call or to realize for themselves, oh, why was I doing this? Didn't make any sense. I wasted time, I wasted effort. A number of mixed race people get to a point where they accept being mixed race as who they are. It takes some people that journey to arrive there. It really does.
And
And you have to
on the
allow
flip
them to get that journey.
on the flip side of that, there's these mixed race people who accept the abuse that they get from the black community. They're like, okay, this is part of the position of being in the black community. They accept the abuse. Now, what I saw, what Forlight did with that one biracial baby mama who was, basically turned on you because she saw that you were pointing out her pathology, worshiping darker skinned men and hating herself and other, mixed people, which is very common, unfortunately. What I like what Forlight did, and when you did your kind of rebuttal live stream on her, which was perfect, I shared it, and you basically were like, oh, she's not even black, she's mixed. You said something like that. You pulled your her the black card from her. That is the perfect and best weapon in response that a black guy can do to one of these unruly biracial baby mama hood boogers. Something I can't do because I'm not a black guy, right? But at Forlight, when you did that live stream and you did that, I was like, you put the nails in the coffin because you noticed she shut the fuck up. She's not mentioning your name or doing any live streams or not saying nothing anymore. You shut her ass the fuck up. Once you pull the biracial baby mama's black card, they're going to be on their knees begging you. And so, I mean, I applauded you for that. I was like, I loved it. I heard that live stream. I shared it. I was like, that is the weapon you wield over them. I hate to admit it. It's sad. I got to admit it, but this is what it is. Like, because they serve, like, they want to fit in to that group and they will throw every biracial person under the bus to fit into that group, specifically the men.
Um,
Interesting stuff. What do you have to say about that?
the next video I will do will be extremely amazing. I will talk about when the black community abandons light skinned women. Obviously, mulatto is included, but it's going to be a serious thing that I did because I'm finding a mulatto vanguard numerous, many light skinned girls that have gotten screwed over by the black community. And I don't think they understand yet. I think a lot of darker skinned women probably gonna figure it out a little bit faster than a lot of the mulattoes because dark skinned women, obviously dark skinned men are trashing them. I mean, all over the internet. But obviously they turn around and try to trash the lighter skinned brothers, which is weird. But anyways, so I'm finding so many mulatto young ladies, right? Beautiful ladies, right? And the thing is, mulatto girls are beautiful, right? And I want them to know that, even though some of them already do, right? So it's like I'm doing this series to show them the length that a lot of these women are willing to go to please or to serve the black community. They're willing to literally destroy their bodies, destroy their futures, even point of destroying or mocking their own mulatto brothers to fit into the black community. And the thing is, a lot of them want to be black so much that they want to even damage themselves, because just like how the darker skinned men are damaging dark skinned women, because they want to prove that they're dark skinned, so they're willing to do things that other dark skinned women are going through. They're willing to take the ratchet route, right? They're willing to talk a certain way. They're willing to just fixate themselves a certain way that the black community are pushing, are narrating, to people in public through the music, through social media. The "I don't need no man," the you know you a BS N word and stuff like that. So they're trying to push this narrative on themselves just to prove that they're black. And this is the same thing that with this other girl, right? The girl that came against me, like she talked the same way. You know what I mean? She didn't talk feminine. She talked like a hood booger, like what you call them. I actually have a worse name, but I don't want to say it on your panel. So they try to do act a certain way to prove they're black, and it's disgusting. And I'm saying to the mulatto sisters, you don't have to be that way. You don't have to fall and destroy your body or even mock lighter skinned brothers, the same brothers that come out your own womb, right? Because you're a lighter skinned sister, so there's a great percent chance that a light skinned son is going to come out your own womb. So you're literally attacking your own child to prove yourself that you're black. And this is how destructive the brainwashing mechanism that has that has happened to the light mulatto, both the mulatto sisters and the brothers, right? So yeah, the next video is going to be amazing for sure.
I'm definitely gonna look out for it. But yeah, like you said, even with that, biracial baby mama who turned on you, like not only that, like it was just it's disgusting because if you look at her and you see her, like she does not look black at all, but she tries so hard to prove that she's black. And like you said, they don't want to change their skin color. They don't want to look phenotypically like a dark skinned black female, but they want the kind of energy and the kind of stereotype of a darker skinned black female. That's what they're trying to embody. And it's like
Vanguard, before you continue, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
go
Just
ahead.
quick point. I have found numerous videos, which is going to be in this serious thing that I'm doing, of darker skinned men saying that they don't want the mulatto light skinned sisters anymore, that the light skinned sisters are falling off and stuff like that. And that's the whole point of this series is like, what happens? Where are you going to go when the black community, when the darker skinned men don't want you no more? Because a lot of them saying, hey, we're good. The darker skinned man still want us, so you guys can go ahead and mock the mulatto brothers. Matter of fact, I'll join you guys. So the point is, what happens when the darker skin or the black community is like, okay, yeah, because the black women have been pushing this narrative that mulatto women or light skinned women ain't black. You don't think the mothers of these darker skinned men ain't gonna start pushing that on their darker skinned son? And there's a big push, on to of hatred towards mulatto people, especially nowadays. There's a huge push. I've seen it on TikTok, right, where um, people are where this white mother was holding a mulatto son, and she was on a panel with a group of black women, and they were saying, do you know that you are a supporter of white supremacy because you have a mulatto son? So this there's a huge push of hating mulatto people, and I'm telling you, it's going to become big even towards the lighter skinned sisters. But I see a lot of these lighter skinned sisters on these dating panels, on these dating shows, and rejecting lighter skinned men in front of the public, in front of everybody, making lighter skin. They believe that they're only targeting lighter skinned men, but by rejecting lighter skinned men on a public platform, the only thing that you guys are showing is that light skin complexion is undesirable. So you guys are also attacking yourself. But they don't get that. They don't understand that concept. And unfortunately, they don't understand the reason why a lot of these darker skinned men go for the mulatto sisters or the lighter skinned sisters, whichever you want to call them, is because they couldn't reach the white women.
Yeah, that is profound. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Al.
Well,
You want to add
I
to
was
that?
going to say a lot of what gets brought up about what goes on in certain community amongst with some of these biracial people or multiracial people that grow up elsewhere. I hear it sometimes. It filters, when I'm in a group or whatever. I mean, for me, it's not an issue because I have a realistic view of the way this country is, but also because I don't come from a community where I had to prove anything. And I'll admit that. I mean, I didn't have to prove anything to anybody. So when I heard about some of these archetypes, stereotypes, I was like, this is weird. I mean, how I couldn't fathom it. But again, you know, when you don't have to prove anything to anyone, when you're not trying to fit in, when you're not trying to be a part of another community, The point that I make that I think probably some people don't like is when you are mixed race, you are not monoracial. Therefore, you are never going to fit into a monoracial community. You can live in a monoracial community. Maybe you could be you can do some of the things there, but you'll never entirely fit because you're not monoracial. That community, meaning the people, and the culture is not intended for you. And no matter how hard some people try, they don't understand that because, again, they aren't raised in a community either around biracial people, which admittedly is hard in the US, not impossible, but not hard. Don't understand mixed race history, which again is understandable because where are you going to learn it? Maybe YouTube. A book, if you can learn, gets something out of it.
What
Find a book about it.
what I wanted to
Uh,
add as well, just to
yeah,
piggyback, since I got four light up here, I wanted to reiterate on the fact where, like, when you checked that one biracial baby mama, it was so flawless because the thing is they feel like in the I look at the comment here, he says, yes, they want the spiritual energy and ghetto charisma. And it's also that kind of stereotype, right? Of dark skinned black women, right? To not, they don't want to look like them, but they want that energy. And when Forlight checked this one biracial hood booger, what I loved is because he pulled her black card. Because what you have to understand with the biracial baby mama or biracial hood booger is they need black men, black males, in order to get access into the black community because that's their access point to get acceptance in the black community. They need protection from black women and they have to be on the coattails and they have to be in collaboration and connected with black males because black women are going to check their ass and look at them and be like, bitch, you're white, you got a white mom, you're white, you're not black like us. See, the black women will check their ass and let them know they're not like them. All these divester spaces, all these black women empowerment spaces, Paris Milan, etc., they're going to check their ass. So a lot of these biracial women, they're very sneaky, but they have to basically connect with black males in order to get acceptance and access into the black community. So that's why when I saw when Forlight basically checked this idiot and was telling her, man, you're not even black, you're white, you're not even biracial, like you checked her, you pulled her black card, she shut the fuck up immediately. That's how you shut someone like that down. See, I can't have that type of effect because I'm not a black guy, but Forlight can. I thought it was just very effective and effortlessly because you have a certain tool to deal with an individual like that in that capacity. And because you can see it for what it is, like they want they're these are biracials who look basically white, or they look, I this one individual that you checked, she looks like a fat Mexican, like a I call a torta, like someone who ate too many, Mexican hamburgers. Like, so they don't even look black. They don't look biracial like that, but they try so hard. And like the comment here, the light skinned historian, where like they'll try to sound extra ghetto and extra hood to kind of fit in with the black group, but they need black men in order to
and
get
and
that access. Go
and
ahead.
and the thing is, like you're saying, they try to act a certain way to be extra ghetto or extra hood to prove that they're black or they want part of the sisterhood. But what has that done for the black community? What has that done for the black community? What has acting like that or talking like that or whatever they're pushing the black community right now, which they're blaming on everybody else but themselves? But what has that done in the black community? Absolutely nothing. And the only reason why they call the light skinned man soft, etc., stuff like that, is not really because the light skinned men are soft. It's because a lot of lighter skinned men refuse to act a certain way. Uh, let me calm down. For light, calm down. For light. The reason why they're saying a lot of light skinned brothers are soft is because a lot of light skinned men refuse to act that way, right? And you know what happens to a lot of lighter skinned brothers when they act that way, right? And here's the funny part about this. um, Mulatto, Vanguard, and Al, is that a lot of darker skinned men already abandoned the black community. A lot of them don't care about the black community. A lot of them don't give a crap about the black community, right? Perfect guy, Coach Greg Adams, right, who talk about marriage and so forth. He himself has said, "Don't even, I'm not even associated with you, Nick Knox," right? So the whole concept of that, these mulattoes, you guys are trying to prove yourself to a community that actually really don't even exist, right? If you just want to be real,
Well, I'm not.
it's
I'm
just
not trying to prove it.
not you personally, but I'm just saying in general, like people that's trying to do that, that's mulatto, and
Well,
it
that's
sucks
part of the
because
reason that I don't deal with those
go
people.
ahead.
Like, I
Al,
mean, I
Al,
mean, this is what I
Al.
told Beaver a long time ago.
For light, I wanted to hear you finish your thoughts first before Al interjects. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Al can go, but I just want to say that, it sucks because these sisters, these lovely biracial women, they could have had a lovely family. They could have a lovely family. They could have a lovely life. There, I don't know if you know about this light, this mulatto couple on YouTube. They have 3 million views, and that girl, I've never seen that girl. That girl had two boys and and beautiful family. They just
Sounds
Your
cutting out.
audio, your
they
audio is
live in a.
choppy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me now? Yeah,
yeah.
like I forgot their names. I got to look them up. The Scots, the Scots. Yep, the name just came to me. They're called the Scots, right? Look, they have 3 million followers. Both of them are I believe is biracial. I mean, this girl is always happy living his life, and then when you go on the other side, now you see these other mulatto girls that are single mothers, and it's just like, what are you guys doing? And it's just like I said before, they're willing to destroy their bodies for the community, and when it comes to the man side, right, the mulatto men are willing to shame their own skin complexions, to be subservient, to look like nothing, to be at the bottom, or even if they're not at the top, they're in second place. Like, for example, J. Cole, right? They're willing to literally put themselves down to try to prove or show favors to the black community. And I'm asking you, a lot of mulattoes, what have the black community offered you, right? What has the black community done for you instead of just making you some sort of victim mentality, right? Yeah, that's the Scots right there. That's the family. Beautiful family. Look at that. Beautiful family, right? I love seeing that brother and that sister. Beautiful family. I think they got like 3 million views. Subscribers on YouTube. The guy is a chef, right? Me myself, I love to cook, so I love brothers that are chef. You know what I mean? So beautiful family right there. Beautiful family. She don't have
A
she don't have.
bowl of mashed
Here's the
potatoes.
other part. Watch that. Here's the other part, right? This
You got
brother don't
peppers?
have her twerking and dancing, or doing the crip walk to shame a dark skinned brother, like what Kendrick did with his quote unquote fiance, right? They're just living happily, not trying to mock do anything to anybody. So the reason why they call you light skinned brother soft is not because you're soft. It's because you guys have a radiance to you guys. It's because you guys don't follow the whole ghetto lifestyle. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
You made a good point about like the whole Kendrick Lamar and with Whitney doing like the crip walk and dancing, and she looked really stupid, I might add. Like you can tell most of the pictures you see Whitney in, she doesn't look happy. Like she looks soulless. Like it's just an arrangement there she has with Kendrick. It's
Facade.
very sad, right?
And I just want to point this out. Shout out to Light Skin History. Um, he said something that's very profound when he said that a lot of these lighter skinned sisters or mulatto sisters that's with darker skinned men, they're training their lighter skinned sons to be subservient creatures. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word. Calm down for a lot. But they're training their lighter skinned sons to be subservient or to be shamed or to mock their own skin complexion or to prove themselves to the darkest skin men. So that was a good point that he pointed out. So shout out to light skin history.
Yeah, most definitely. I really appreciate his commentary and what he's bringing to the table.
Well, I look at it this way. You guys have your own points of view about it. For me, it always comes down to individual. It's an individual country, and people do things as individuals for their own reasons. So I am not someone who wastes a lot of time dealing with people who aren't with the program. It's sort of like Tom Berenger in Platoon, right? If you're not part of the machine. As he said in Platoon, I got no problem with a man who does his part, but when someone doesn't do his part, the machine goes down. And when the machine goes down, we go down. And so I look at things from an individual point of view. And like, take a look at that video right there. You know, these are people that are making their individual choices. That's how they represent themselves on YouTube. I think this is YouTube or is TikTok. I don't know. Um, this is how they represent themselves, and also, it's a part of maybe the food kind of aspect of the online video world, right? They're in that. Now, let me just state as a biracial person, I'm somebody who's just gotten into podcasting. So I had 30 years as I've been a writer for 30 years. Now I've got two podcasts. You know, that's what I'm doing. Other people, they're doing what they're doing, right? It's a matter of individuality. So the circumstances and the things that you bring up, those are people that made their choices. Now, again, it's based on the communities and the family or the aspects that they're around and what they're influenced by. But it's still what these individuals want. This is why I don't deal with people that aren't part of the machine. If you get what I mean, I don't deal with people who aren't part of the machine because if they want to go out and pursue their pursuit of happiness as they see it by not being biracial or rejecting that, they have every right to do that. I don't do that. I pursue things in life. I don't make a big deal about being biracial, but I don't run from it. They run because they think they will get somewhere. But what they don't understand is all you'll do is keep running and running because where you think you're going to get to, you won't be able to stay there for very long. So it's an individual thing. Again, it's not complicated for me. Maybe for you guys it's complicated. Maybe for other people it is. I keep it pretty clear. It's that way for years. Hey, you're a wannabe. You're somebody who doesn't see themselves biracial. You don't like that. You reject it. That's perfectly fine by me. I'm not going to lecture you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to tell you and convince you and sell you on being biracial. That's what you are. I don't have to do that. If you can't recognize it and live with it, however you want to live with it, that's your problem. I'm going to deal with the people who are part of the machine because the machine is important. The machine needs to keep moving. And when people do their part, the machine works. When they don't do their part, machine breaks down. We don't need people that are going to be around this machine but not making the machine work. And so that's the point. That's the point.
Excellent.
Individuality. Let people do what they want to do, but hey, you pay the price. Don't complain to me. That's why I use the term biracial wake up call. They're gonna get their biracial wake up call. What they do with it is up to them.
I use that term, that phrase as well, biracial wake up call. Excellent points, Al. I really appreciate that. Gentlemen, I'm going to close this out now. If you guys want to add your final words before I close this out, I can start with For Light. Go ahead.
No, nothing. I just want to say thank you, Mulatto Vanguard. Thank you, Al. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Um, and that's all I gotta say. I gotta keep. I'm fixing up a bed right now. Um, just bought some place. Yeah, just a little bit busy right now. It's a little late, so thank you again. Appreciate you guys. Bye.
I appreciate you hopping up here. Thank you. And the Owl Show, if you can go ahead and please provide your final thoughts. I know you were kind of talking. I kind of, interrupted. Apologize for that, but just want
Oh
to kind of get
no,
things
sorry.
going. Go ahead.
I was speaking to someone. I apologize for that. Yeah. What I would just say is this. You know, let's look at how are people who the tricky part is this. We live in a country where the fruits and the fat and the foundation has been pretty much ripped out for mixed race people, for biracial people. And that's the problem. And so a lot of people don't have a sense of history. They don't have a sense of community. They don't have a sense of belonging. That's easy for a lot of monoracial people because they can go into Chinatown or Little Italy or they can go to some ethnic enclave, or if not, they can at least be part of a community somewhere. Whereas that's harder for mixed race people to be in this country. So if we talk about solutions, one is that biracial people have to have a sense of history. They have to understand history and find a way for this history to be taught to them somehow. And they have to understand that there are people like them that exist in this country, that they are a particular group of people. It's not that they're unique or special or different. It's that they're ordinary. They're like anyone else and yet not like anyone. Because what I get from biracial people is they just want to be like anyone else. They don't want to be treated like, they don't want to be outcast. They want to be seen as alien. They want to be just like every other person in the society. But they understand they're not quite like that. So history is important. And that's why I also cite people in other countries because unfortunately, we don't really have a sense of that anymore in the United States because that's been eroded. But you look at countries like South Africa, you look at countries like Brazil, you look at places like Cape Verde. Again, it may seem odd, even the Dominican Republic to an extent. It may seem odd to cite other countries, but mixed race people are not an American phenomena, they're a global phenomenon. So you have to be able to see something that connects to you as a mixed race person. That's the closest that I can come in terms of, if you want to say, solutions. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Instead of just saying, well, it's a problem and this is the way people are and this is how they are. Okay, how can they see themselves or how can they gain something that will allow them to kind of make it through life or make it through their existence effectively and productively as mixed race people? And that ultimately is what is necessary and needed for mixed race people in this country. So that's just what I would cite. That's it. Maybe
Al,
people with other suggestions. Go ahead.
before I let you go, I want to get your final thoughts. I forgot to ask on the
Okay, go ahead.
gentleman. James Earl Jones, because I know you're a Star Wars fan. You're a Trekkie as
Oh
well.
yeah, that's
What's your
true.
thoughts on James Earl Jones and his passing? Because his voice is pretty inspirational with all the characters
Mm.
he's voiced.
You know, he was an actor I liked years ago. I wasn't as interested in him later on. He did roles like The Great White Hope. That was, I think, one of his best roles because he also played it on Broadway. But playing the heavyweight champion Jack Johnson, um, I think that he was an interesting actor. I mean, some of the films that I like him in, besides the film version of Great White Hope, is okay. It's not great. Field of Dreams probably is one of his most significant films. I liked his role there as kind of a reporter who's in baseball. Um, obviously he's the voice of Darth Vader, and people remember him there. Um, I guess I always liked him as an actor. But again, to me, those are more the significant roles in the significant films. I'd say Field of Dreams. Some people would say Claudine. That's a significant film that he was in. Um, I remember an appearance he made on Big Bang Theory. I like that. I think Carrie Fisher was in that as well.
Because
So
he's
yeah,
your
yeah,
generation. He's your generation. I'm a millennial guy, so I know him
uh,
from Star Wars and from Lion King. That's about it. Like, but yeah, he's your generation,
all
right?
right, Lion King
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I think he was born what? I can't remember
He
when
was
he was
born in the
born.
30s. He's lived to
Okay,
be 90 years old. It says right
oh,
here
that's it.
30 let me pull it up. It
Because I
says
think he's originally from Mississippi, and then I think moved to
31.
Michigan, maybe. Yeah, well, 31. Oh wow,
31. So he lived
yeah,
to be like 90 plus years old, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanna
So
get your take on that, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Like like I said, if there are roles that I recommend him in terms of movies, Field of Dreams right at the top of the list. Like Great White Hope, that film adaptation is okay. I would not recommend Soul Man because he was in Soul Man. I wouldn't recommend that. Hey, they all can't be winners, right? They all can't be winners. But yeah, those are the roles that I like James Earl Jones in, and of course, he was the voice of Darth Vader. I thought he was terrific as that.
Oh, yeah, me too, man, that's my favorite. I love Star Wars, I'm a big Star Wars fan,
So you're a
so
Star Wars. So are you 501st Legion? Not that fanatic.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've seen
But
those guys.
the
Like I've been to comic. I've been to geek type events and stuff like that. I've seen 501st Legion and some 501st Legion. So
I don't think so.
uh,
I'm
yeah,
too late in the game. Like, yeah, they have the whole alternate universe, like novels and stuff. Like, I'm too late in the game for that. But I've always grown up
yeah.
like
I
I
don't
was
I don't read the fan fiction stuff. Well, go ahead. I don't read a lot of the novels like Star Trek. There were so many Star Trek novels, and I read a few, and I went, ah, I can't do this. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna read these novels. So I gave up on that.
yeah, no, I'm not a super geek or a super fan, but I really like the whole Star Wars lore. Mainly what I like is the sword fighting. I like the Jedi Knights
Oh,
versus the Sith
lightsaber.
Lords.
Yeah.
I love the sword fighting aspect of the whole Star Wars, phenomena, but that's about it. I like the story. I like the character development. So I'm a fan for sure. But yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, unlike some people, I don't mind the prequels. I do not. There are people that are anti prequel. They hate Phantom Menace. They hate Attack of the Clones. They hate Revenge of the Jedi. I don't have a problem with those films. In fact,
You mean Revenge of the Sith is what you
the
mean.
Revenge of
You
the
mean
Sith. Sorry,
yeah.
Revenge of the Jedi was the original name of Return of the Jedi.
Return of
So
the Jedi. Yeah,
I'm taking the original name. That shows you how, like, I'm mixing the original name with that. But I like the prequels, and in '99 when I went to see it, and yes, I saw it the first day in 1999. Uh,
I did
I don't
too.
care what people think. Oh,
Episode
you did?
episode
Oh,
one.
excellent,
It was
excellent.
episode one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, episode one. I saw it the first day.
I was a
First day
kid.
in '99.
Yeah, I was a kid. I
No, I
saw it
wasn't.
too. Yeah.
I wasn't. I was considerably. I was. What was I? I was nearly 30. Yeah. And I think the Phantom Menace is very good. Yes, I'm gonna. If this gets clipped, there's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. Yes, I think the Phantom Menace is an excellent film.
I was
Yes,
bored.
I do.
I was bored with all the pod racing stuff, but like I said, I really like the sword fighting. So when I saw like the Jedi's and Obi-Wan and the other guy, battling it out with Darth Maul, like that to me
Oh,
was like it was all worth it waiting.
the problem I had with that was Darth Maul got killed. I that was the character that I immediately liked. I said, "This is a great character." He gets killed in the first film. I said, "You gotta be kidding me!" And so that was one of the few things about Phantom Menace. But yes, I am on the record as saying that Phantom Menace is an excellent film. Star Wars Episode One is an excellent film, and if people have a problem with that, I don't care. Attack of the Clones is good. Revenge of the Sith, I think, is better, even better. It's a very good film. I think it's the best of the series. But yeah, I like the prequels, and I really don't feel any need to apologize for that. But then again, I'm an ex film critic and reviewer, so I really don't give a shit. I don't care if this gets clipped. Go ahead and clip it. I don't care. The prequels to Star Wars are good. The prequels to Star Wars are good to excellent. They work, folks. The people who don't like it, they're like Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. That's what I would say. They don't. The force is not with them. That's what I would say. The
That's
force is
funny.
not with them.
The force is not with them. They don't
I,
appreciate the
I'm not
art.
kidding. I mean, wait.
Yeah.
You got to understand. You're a Star Trek fan. I know you're not fanatic, but I'm coming out and saying I don't mind the prequels. There's a lot of hate for the prequels. You must know that.
Yeah, they don't like the guy Hayden Christensen, the Canadian actor. A lot of people don't
Yeah,
like him. Anakin's
yeah. I
Anakin
don't mind. I didn't
Skywalker.
mind. I didn't mind him. I didn't mind him at all. It was fine with me.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Poor
fans who
guy.
don't like the guy, the Anakin Skywalker, Hayden
Yeah, I
Christensen.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, I normally I wouldn't talk about stuff like this on a panel like this, but I really don't care. See, mixed race people, we have other interests too. We're not interested in race all the time. In fact, we're probably not interested in this stuff most of the time. I know I'm not. I'm interested in other stuff. Hell, I got two podcasts that I'm doing. Please, I mean, but yeah, I, you know, I wonder if anybody's going to watch this and use this. That's what I'm just wondering because I'm like, I'm sorry. I think Star Wars, the episodes 1 to 3 are good to very good.
I'll be honest with you. My favorite was Natalie Portman. I'm a big Natalie Portman fan, so
Oh, you like Natalie Portman?
I
I
really
see.
like
I
her.
didn't mind her as Princess Amidala. I didn't mind
I'm a
her.
big Natalie ever since I was a
Uh,
kid because those movies came out. I was a kid in like
oh,
high
I see.
school, junior high
What
school. So
Natalie Portman movies do you like besides these three?
basically, the Star Wars made her a star. Basically, I mean, she's been in a bunch of other stuff. I think she's in the Thor, franchise. She was in a movie called Closer, but that came out. I was kind of an adult by then.
Yes,
I think like
I've seen
18
that.
or something.
Yeah,
So
I've seen that.
she played a stripper in that movie, but no, it was mainly Star Wars that I kind of fell in love, I can say, literally, with
Oh,
Natalie
you must have
Portman.
seen V for Vendetta.
Yeah, I saw that. It's a good movie. Yeah,
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 because if you're a Natalie Portman fan,
yeah,
you had to have seen that movie.
yeah. I like Natalie Portman a lot. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
her. So
So
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of fun talking about this. Like I haven't talked about normally talk about movies on Twitter to give that away. But I'm usually in the horror section. I talk about other movies, but I'm in the horror area of Twitter. So
so talks about The Professional, which Natalie Portman was in that movie. She
yep.
was a kid in that movie.
Oh
That was a
yeah.
good movie as well. That was a pretty good movie. You had the other British gentleman, I
Jean
forgot his name.
Reno and Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman was his name. Yeah, that was a pretty good movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I saw that. It's been years since I've seen it, but yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
came
one
out in
that
the
she
mid
was like,
90s. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I like Natalie Portman. I'm not a Natalie Portman fan, but you
I'm a
know,
fan. I'm a fan of her.
yeah,
You
Black
know what's
Swan.
crazy,
You must
Al?
have seen
Her
Black Swan.
husband her husband cheated on her. Isn't that a travesty? Natalie
Really?
Portman,
I'm not
her
surprised.
husband cheated on her. I mean, how
It
can you
doesn't surprise me.
that is
Sad to
insane.
say, it doesn't surprise me.
You are with
It
one
doesn't
of the
surprise
most
me.
beautiful women on the planet. Like you're, how could you cheat on a woman like that? Your wife is Natalie
That I can't
Portman.
answer. I can't answer.
That just
Vanguard.
shows you how
That I
effed up
can't.
a lot of
I'm a
guys
single
are.
guy.
Yeah.
That I like. I don't get stuff like that because I'm a single guy. So I'm like that doesn't impact. I mean, like I'm like
But it's
that gets
Natalie
me into
Portman. Like,
another.
what else could you
I
ask for?
Yeah, it's funny. I should bring this up, but I remember seeing a video. I won't bring up that video, but the point that I always bring up about guys who cheat is this. I always say this. It's like you can never trust a guy who cheats. Can never trust a guy. I said this to a couple of people. I said I'd never get into a business dealing or like a business, like go into business, like own a business or deal in business with a guy who I know is cheating on his wife. Because if he's cheating on his wife, that means he's going to cheat on me. If he's going to screw her over, he's going to screw me over. So I look at that and I go, you will not, you can't be trusted. That's just my mindset. But I'm a single guy anyway. So I mean, that kind of thing, I just shrug my shoulders and go, I don't get it. I'm sure he's like a lot of other guys. I'm a single guy, so I never had to deal with that. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Hey, this has been a good conversation. We should chop
Yeah,
it up
this is
about this
fun.
again sometime. Yeah.
This was fun. I kind of liked that. When we went in this direction, I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I'm like, I just hope nobody clips that Star Wars part of it. I'm gonna really be in hot water if somebody tries to use that. But what the hell? I guess I can defend myself. What the hell?
Yeah, definitely, man. Let's continue this
All right,
discussion some other time. Yep.
all right. Let's. Thanks for having me.
Yep. No problem. Take it easy. All right, guys. It's been another great, interesting live. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please hit the like button if you already haven't. And I'll see you guys pretty soon. All right. So, adios.